Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 3rd of December and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in the today's video, we are going to discuss the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper. We'll take all the articles from the background. We will simplify the articles as well as the way forward in the articles we are also going to take up. Now, before starting, I would like to tell you that if you are new here, you can download these synoptic notes. In this synoptic notes, we have taken the articles, we have simplified them, and along with the background, these all articles have been taken up here. Now these synoptic notes are available on the Telegram channel. The link for the Telegram channel has been given in the description box in YouTube, or you can directly visit the Telegram and can search there by typing Thinking Palette by Sahil, and there you will get these PDF notes. Now before starting up, I would like to show you the newspaper overview so that you can understand that which articles are actually important in the today's newspaper and what is the relative placement of those articles. So here we have the first page and the first article, ISRO scientists frame up Supreme Court questions the officials bail. So basically guys, it is being provided that there was a case where Nambi Narayan, fine, who was a scientist with the ISRO, was tried to be framed up. So in that particular case, the Supreme Court has quashed the bail. Now the article is not containing much substance for the UPSC examination. No need to go there. Then guys, moving on in this particular direction, fine. Here, the Learn Tamil books fly off at the shelves at the Kashi Hall. So basically, in this particular article, it is just being provided that into the Varanasi. Okay, basically, what actually had happened few days back, government had started one Kashi Tamil Samagam scheme. Under this Kashi Tamil Samagam scheme, it was provided that the students, the teachers, okay, the students, the teachers, as well as the other people will be traveling from Varanasi. They will be going to the Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, they'll be going to the Chennai, Rameshwaram, etc. And from Tamil Nadu, the students will be going to the Varanasi, Kashi, so that they can understand each other's culture, so that they can understand the languages and all such kind of things. So as this is going on, so the books on learning the Tamil, etc., are getting sold fast. So this is just the idea that has been given, nothing more than that. Okay, then moving on in the city section, the MCD polls, etc., elections are being discussed. Not much important things have been given in these particular pages. Then guys, moving on. However, here we see an important article, Protect Glacial Period Coastal Red Sand Dunes of Vizag. Important article with respect to the exam. We'll see this article. Then, Indian politics needs a dose of new experimentalism. So, we'll see this article. Now, this is actually a very good and a very different kind of an article which is talking about that how we need to increase the representation of diverse communities in the politics, in the parliament. Okay, we'll see this particular article, connecting India's east with the Indo-Pacific. So how the northeastern states can be made a part of the India's foreign policy. We'll see this particular article, a good article. Then great responsibility. This article talks about as India is assuming the G20 presidency. So what are the priorities that India should be looking upon? We'll take this particular article. On the boil. So the violence in the West Bank. Okay, so basically the killing of the Palestinian men by the Israeli security forces and all such kind of things are being discussed. Now guys, in the article, the substance related to our exam, fine. For example, when we talk about these particular issues, we need to see that how Indian interest will be impacted. That is something which is important. You need to find that thing, but that kind of a substance is not there. Then today is the Saturday, and on the Saturday we have this ground zero report, and in this ground zero report, basically they take any issue from the ground and they report it from there. So this particular article, it is talking about the recent blast in the Mangaluru that have happened. Now in the article, much important substance for the for our exam is not there, so no need to go too much in that detail. Then VP questions judiciary power to undo amendment. So guys, we'll see this particular article as what it is talking about. Then after that, moving on basically Gujarat elections and these kind of things have been mentioned, not important political articles. Then moving on, tourist guides to front unique India's unique experiences. We'll see this particular article guys with respect to the examination. Okay, then further moving on, fine. Bhopal tragedy within tragedy, flight of doctors from Bhopal's hospital leaves patients in the lurch. After complaint, center set to prioritize wages for the MGNREGA site supervisors. We'll see this particular article with respect to the exam as what it is talking about. Then India US hold frank discussion on social challenges, says the diplomat. So basically guys, here we can see that the Elizabeth Jonas, who has been who has been an US ambassador. Fine. Now see, she had held certain discussions with respect to the social, there are the communal issues that are coming, the social issues that are coming, and they had said that both India and USA have a frank discussion, they had frank discussion, and they are very much understanding of each other's concern. However, in the article, important substance has not been given. Is it clear or not? Just it is talking about, just it is talking about a recent, fine, it is talking about the recent, a recent report of the US Commission on International Religious Freedom. Now they have urged the State Department to designate India as a country of the particular concern. Okay, because they are saying this thing that in India, they are saying this particular thing that in India nowadays the social conditions are not going good. But here it has been said that here the diplomat had said this particular thing that when we talk about the US CIRF, that is the US Commission on International Religious Freedom, it is not an executive arm. It is not an executive arm, okay, and they can write anything, but government will be acting. That is not something. The government will be acting on that. It's not something that whatever they'll say, government will do that. ऐसा नहीं है. Okay, then moving on. However, in the article, much relevant substance is not given, so I'll not suggest you to go too much into that detail. Okay, then after that, moving on, the world's page. Fine. USA names Al Qaeda unit Pakistan Taliban as terrorist. Okay, Tories do poorly in first electoral test. Not important article for the examination. Then after that, relief in China as cities announce ease of some COVID measures. Okay, so we have seen this particular thing that into the past there was a criticism of the China that came because China was having the strict COVID policy. Okay, now they are easing out. Okay, but again guys, see in this particular page nothing much important is there. Understand this particular thing. I tell you in every class that you need to see, you need to see those articles which are having some foreign policy dimension, or the articles where some India's lead role into the foreign policy or some relation of India with other countries mentioned. The evolutionary details in some other countries, Russia, some evolutionary detail happening, not important. Then bank credit grew at 17% in fortnight to the November 18. Okay. After that, guys, basically the corporate trends, etc., had been given. Not very much important with respect to the examination. Okay. So first of all, guys, I every day show you the newspaper overview. There is only one objective to show this overview, is that you should be able to learn that what type of articles you have to pick up for your examination, because the art of the UPSC is not reading everything under the sun, but the art of this exam is that you should know that what is not to be read, because many things we are collecting, but at the end of the day they are not of much relevance by the time our exam will come. Okay, so this is the overview, and now let's take these all articles one by one in the detail. Okay, so starting up, guys, we take the GS quotation in every session. Now the objective of this GS quotation is to give you certain fodder which you can use to complement your static parts in GS 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it clear? Now, today we are going to take the quotation by the Hillary Clinton. So Hillary Clinton says that women are the largest untapped reservoir of the talent in the world. Now, why the women are the largest untapped reservoir? It is because of the fact, guys, that women's labor force participation rate is never on par with the male's labor force participation rate. Even in India, recently the periodic labor force survey was released, and there we have seen that just 1/4 of the women are the part of the labor force. So they are talented, their talent, their capabilities never are explored. So we need to tap the women's talent, we need to tap the women's capabilities. Okay, so this is something that needs to be focused. Now this particular issue, this particular idea can be used in the GS paper number 1 as well as GS paper number 2, issues related to women, even in GS paper number 3. Women labor force participation rate is an important issue. Is it clear or not? Now moving to the first article, and before that, a very good morning to all of you. Aishwarya, Hardik sir says, how's your health, sir? Hardik, I'm very good now, thanks for asking. Ganesh, Dipankar, um, uh, Fathimathul, Gobed, Anil, Akashdeep, Ganesh, Apan Toiba, Bhagyarani, Rishikesh, Pragati, Nitin. Very good morning to all of you. Okay, Rama Manikant Swami, 2nd December newspaper analysis, that is yesterday's, it is uploaded. So yesterday we did not had a live stream. I had recorded it and had uploaded it. So you'll find it into the videos section. So yesterday live stream was not there because I did not had good internet connection. So it has been uploaded. Okay, you can watch it. Okay, moving on. Now moving on further. Okay, now protect glacial period coastal red sand dunes of the Vizag. Okay. Now guys, this particular article is very important articles because in this article there is the relevance of a particular red sand dunes of the Vizag that has been explained. Very important article with respect to the prelims examination. Very important article with respect to the prelims examination. Now let's understand this particular article. So basically guys, this particular article, it is talking about a geographical location in the state of the Andhra Pradesh, which has a lot of geographical importance. Now we are going to see all those particular factors in this particular direction. So guys, it is talking about the Era Mati Dibalu. Now Era Mati Dibalu, these are the red sand dunes, and these red sand dunes are located 20 km northeast of the Visakhapatnam city. Now Visakhapatnam is a coastal city into the Andhra Pradesh. Now when we talk about these red sand dunes, that is the Era Mati Dabalu. Now first of all, these red sand dunes, they have been nominated, just a minute, they have been nominated as a geo heritage site. Now the geo heritage sites are those sites which have a particular geographical importance, the sites which are very ancient, the sites which have the geographical, and the sites which are having the historical traditional value. So they are recognized as the geo heritage sites. Now, it has been recognized as the geo-heritage sites by the Geological Survey of India way back in 2014. Moreover, this particular site has also has been notified as the protected site by the Andhra Pradesh government. Now, basically, this particular site, why it is important? It has been said that the Era Mati Dabalu, it is the site which has seen both the glacial as well as the warm periods. Now, glacial as well as the warm period. Guys, understand this particular thing, guys, that if you have read the geography, you might have read little bit about the basically geographical time scale. So when we talk about the geographical time scale, right now the Cenozoic era is going on. Within the Cenozoic era, we are right now living into the Quaternary period, and within the Quaternary period there is the Pleistocene, Holocene. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that when we see the earth sees the glacial age, there is the glacial age, and after the glacial age there will be the warm period, and again after the warm period there will be the glacial age that will come. Multiple times into the past, in the history, in the geographical history, we have seen the glacial age, warm age, again glacial age. Now the period between the two glacial age, it is also called as the interglacials. Period. Okay. Now guys, when we talk about the most recent glacial age of the earth, it was the Pleistocene. It was the latest glacial age, and right now we are living into the Holocene. So Holocene is the present. Where we are living, and both these Holocene and Pleistocene are the part of the Quaternary period, and the Quaternary period is the part of the Cenozoic era. Now understand this particular thing. What we got to know that earlier there was the glacial period, Pleistocene, and now we are into the warm period, which is the Holocene. Now when we talk about this particular site, that is the Era Mati Dabalu, it has seen both glacial as well as warm period. Now what glacial period it would have seen? Pleistocene. And what warm period it is seeing? Present, that is the Holocene. Now this particular site, it has been said that it is around 18,500 to 20,000 years old, and it can be related to the last glacial period. Now these particular kind of soils, these kind of reserves which has seen both glacial and the warm period, they are very much rare, particularly into the tropical region. And in the tropical region we have only three such kind of sites. Number one is the terry sands, and these terry sands are in Tamil Nadu. Fine. Two are in India, that is the terry sands in Tamil Nadu, Era Mati Dabalu that we are talking about into the Visakhapatnam, and one side is there into the Sri Lanka. Now they are saying this particular thing, that when we talk about these red sediments, fine, they represent the continuation and evolution of the earth, the late Quaternary geologic age, I already told you. Now These particular sites represent a lot of geographical features. What geographical features they are representing? They exhibit the badland topography, they exhibit the gullies, sand dunes, buried channels, beach ridges, paired terraces. Is it clear? Valley is also there, wave cut terrace. Okay, fine. So all these nick points, all these features at one particular location are visible in the Era Matti Dabalu in the Vishakhapatnam, and it has been said that this particular site is to be conserved now. Now the government should not give clearance to any construction project, should not give clearance to any infrastructure project, road projects, etc. in this particular region, because as this particular part is very old, we can see that how the climate change has impacted. Because guys, you see this thing that this site was there into the Pleistocene ice age also, and now into the warm period also. So obviously from ice age to the present age, the temperature has changed, the climate has changed. So how the climate change has reacted on it, it is a very important site for such kind of a studies. So this is something that has been provided in this particular article. Guys, I hope that you have understood it, and basically many number of times the locations or the mapping related questions come. Okay, so this is this red sand dune site. So the questions from the mapping comes where they ask that this XYZ site was into the news, where it is located. So this is something that you should be knowing. It is located around the Vishakhapatnam city in Andhra Pradesh. Now moving to the next article. Okay, so here what we have done, guys, we have actually clubbed the two of the articles. The first article is from the editorial section, The Great Responsibility, and then there is another article, okay, from the Hindu newspaper, that is the tourist guides to front unique India experiences at G20 meeting venues. Now both of these particular article is talking about the G20's presidency that India had taken just 2 days back, that is from the 1st December. Now, guys, basically, I will give you a little bit of a background before that, before going in this particular article. First of all, understand this particular thing that Indonesia had handed over the G20's presidency to India. It has handed over the G20's presidency to the India, and the next president will be the Brazil. Now, first of all, guys, we see this particular thing that since the G20 came in the genesis, okay, since the G20 came in genesis in 1999, okay, and after 2008, when the G20 was reorganized as the annual summit level meet. So G20 came in existence in 1999. Okay, however, from 2008, it got reorganized as a summit level organization. When we talk about G20, there are the 19 countries plus European Union, 19 countries plus European Union, who is the part of the G20. Is it clear or not? Now, just a minute. Yes. So basically, today when we talk about the G20s, G20's Troika, G20's Troika, that is, the Troika is a formal body within the G20 which shows the past president, the present president, and the future president. So today the G20 Troika has all the three developing countries in its Troika. India is a developing, Indonesia and Brazil are the developing country. So first of all, as we talk about the G20's focus is moving towards the developing world. Is it clear or not? Now, moving on. Basically, guys, as we talk about the G20, India had got the presidency, and India has taken up the presidency with the motto of Vasudev Kutumbakam, or the one earth, one family, one future. And if you remember, just the day before yesterday, we have also taken one article written by the Prime Minister where he had talked about that what India is going to focus in the G20 presidency. Very good article we have seen just day before yesterday. So the article is giving that particular reference also. Article says that the Prime Minister has said that we will be focusing on healing our one earth, healing from the climate change, and the disastrous impacts of the rising sea level that are happening. Now we are creating the harmony with one family, with for one future. Now when we talk about creating harmony between the world countries, for example, right now the Russia Ukraine war is going on, there is a confrontation between the West and Russia, West and China, that is going on. So we need to make sure that we should be having a harmony so that we can live with one family, and that goes in line with the Vasudev Kutumbakam. Now guys, understand this thing that as India had taken the G20 presidency, throughout this 1 year, India aims to conduct 200 G20 meetings, and these 200 G20 meetings will be held across the India, so that India can showcase its culture, India can showcase its diversity to the entire world. And here there is one beautiful angle that we can derive out, that actually as India is organizing the 200 meetings across the different locations, it can be a very important opportunity to tap the tourism in India. And now guys, government has also understood that particular thing, and now it has been said that, see, first of all, right now there is a difficult time that is going on, because first of all there is the differences over the Russia Ukraine war that is going on. So scheduling the meeting, calling all the countries when they have a lot of confrontation, it is going to be very difficult. But still India is hopeful, and now India is actually training the tourist guides, tourist facilitators as a part of the G20 presidency, so that when the designations, when the meetings will be held, okay, and when the deputations from the other countries will be coming, they can explore India's culture by the help of these tourist guides. And in this particular direction, government is now training the tourist guides by the through the Indian Institute of Tourism and Travel Management, okay, as well as the regional directors from the Ministry of Tourism are also involved in this particular process. Now as a part of this particular exercise, 1000 tourist guides will be trained, and they will be trained in the language skills. Particularly, just a minute, particularly they will be trained to speak or 9 languages, which includes the French, the German. Moreover, they will also be trained for the etiquettes that they need to have when they are interacting with the foreign tourist. Okay, they will be given more enhanced knowledge of the local trade attractions, knowledges of the monuments, the historical knowledges, the cuisines, the handicraft, souvenirs. In all these particular things, the tourist guides will be trained. Now, at the same time, tourism ministry has also asked the archaeological survey of India, that archaeological survey of India should prepare a list of local monuments, that specific local should draw the list of local monuments specific guides. Okay, for example guys, let's say the Qutub Minar is there. Now there are certain local guides who are having a lot of knowledge about the Qutub Minar's history, a lot of knowledge around the places around the Qutub Minar, etc. So they should be trained. Moreover, it has also been provided that we are going to give a special focus on the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, and along with that, 100 centrally protected monuments will also be picked, which will specifically be showcased to the deputations who will be coming to the India. Now, it has been said that apart from training the tourist guides, there will be the training that will also be given to the other stakeholders. For example, the custom officials, immigration officials, ground staff at airport, local administrative officers, shopkeepers, priests, taxi drivers, boatmen. They will also be sensitized, they will also be educated. Now guys, understand this thing, that this exercise is not only be helping for the successful culmination of G20, but rather for the future times also. Now you see this thing, India has a lot of potential to tap the tourism, and tourism can be an alternative sector of Indian economy. Is it clear? The Niti Aayog's action agenda plan has specifically highlighted that we should explore on the tourism sector. So all these particular things are going to help. Now here it has been provided guys, that as we talk about the 2023, okay, so that presidency that we are going to take up, it is actually into the tough times. Okay, in 2022, fine, in 2022 as well as 2023, the prime minister has to make sure that though there is a Russia Ukraine war going on, western sanctions are being imposed onto the energy, economic downturn, pandemic, climate change, all these issues are there. How even in all these kind of a divisions we can bring the coordination, that is very important thing. How India, right now India is itself facing economic distress, social communal tensions. How India will present a united picture in the front of a world, this is a very big challenge, but the Indian prime minister will be able to do that particular thing very effectively. And it is also going to be a very big opportunity to showcase India's culture, to showcase India's diversity, and by that thing India will be able to portray its distinct soft capital, or its distinct soft power to the world. Okay, so guys, these are certain issues in this particular direction that are coming. Now, if you are following the newspaper analysis regularly, I had taken so many of the articles in which we have discussed multiple number of times that how where we have discussed that how there are a lot of low hanging fruits that can be reaped by the G20. So keep on following all of them. Why? Because they are very important in this particular year. Now moving to the next article. After complaints, center set to prioritize wages for the MGNREGA site supervisors. Now this particular article will see with respect to GS2. We'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 2, social justice, and within the GS paper number 2, the syllabus mentions the government's welfare schemes and the critical evaluation of the government's welfare schemes. Okay, now here today we are going to do the critical evaluation of the MGNREGA scheme. Now before going in this particular article, I would like to give you some of the basic information. Guys, the MGNREGA, it stands for Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, and under this particular scheme, 100 days of paid employment will be provided to every rural household, in one household. It's not for every person, it's for every household. Minimum 100 days of paid employment will be provided. If the state government want, the state governments can enhance it also. From 100 they can say that okay, we'll give 150, we will give 180. They can do that particular thing. Now the employment will be provided for the unskilled work. Employment will be provided for the unskilled work primarily. Is it clear? Okay, now basically guys, there is an issue that is coming, that there are often the delays in the payments of the MGNREGA workers. Now to solve this particular thing, already government has provided that the wages of the unskilled workers, they are to be disbursed within the 15 days. And if there is any kind of a delay, then it is a responsibility of the government that the center has to compensate them. So if there is a 10-day delay, they need to compensate them for that particular delay. This is very good thing, and by that particular thing, actually the wages for the unskilled workers, the errands that were there, it got minimized, the delays got very much minimized. But there is one issue, that is the mates. Now who are the mates? Mates are the frontline supervisors. Now for example guys, there is one particular site, and here a pond is being developed. Okay, so let's say that 10 workers are working for this particular pond's construction. Now there will be a supervisor, who will see that all these 10 workers are working according to the norms or not. Fine. So that particular supervisor is called as the mate. The supervisor is called as mates. Now the supervisor position is considered as a semi-skilled work. It is considered as a semi-skilled work. Why? Because there is a specialist nature of this particular job. Now understand this particular thing. This thing was meant to give an important place to mate, but this thing is becoming as a disadvantage for the mate. How? See, basically, when we talk about the MGNREGA, I told you that here the unskilled work is given. And basically, when we talk about the 15 days guarantee within the wage is to be developed, wage are to be given, that guarantee applies only to the unskilled wages, only unskilled people and their wages. But the mates, I told you that they are the semi-skilled. So here there is no guarantee that within this particular time only the mates have to be given their wages. Now understand this particular thing. The money or the wages that are being given to the mate, they are being calculated as a part of a material component. Okay, now guys, see this thing, that under the MGNREGA, there are the two types of components. One is the material component and other is the wage component. Okay, for example, a pond is being constructed. Let's say the cement will be needed for that. The bricks will be needed. Is it clear or not? Mortar is, let's say, needed. All this is the part of the material component, and wage component is the money that is to be given to the workers. Now the mates wages, they come from the material component. Now when we talk about the material component, 60% of it is paid by the union government, and then the state government will be paying that. And many number of times releasing this material component, there is a lot of delays, lot of errands are there. Erratically, there is a lot of delays, bureaucratic delays. Often the crunch is into the shortage. So therefore what happens, these mates don't get their wages onto the time, and therefore what is happening, the mates, rather than working as a semi-skilled workers, they are registering themselves as the unskilled workers. So that they get the wages onto the time. This is something that is issue. Now, often the difference between the semi-skilled and unskilled is not that much big. So they are opting to be unskilled. Now, guys, understand that if the mates who actually can work as a semi-skilled workers, if they will enroll as the unskilled workers, what will happen? The beneficiaries who could have gotten the benefit, they will be reduced. Understand this thing, that MGNREGA funding will be limited. It's not like that there will be the endless funding. No, the funding is limited. And if there is the mates also registering there, then the original beneficiaries will get impacted. Now here, to solve that particular thing, what has happened, the government has provided that the attendance fine of the mates will be recorded fine, and it has been provided that the muster roll for the mates. Now see this thing, muster roll, it is a list in which the workers who have worked on a particular site, it is provided. So it's provided that the muster roll for mates will also be issued after the muster rolls for the unskilled workers is being prepared. And in this particular muster roll, there needs to be provided that how many wages are to be given, and if the wages are not given to the mates in a time bound manner, then the day wise pendency is also to be reported. Is it clear? Moreover, it has been provided that before actually paying for, then one more issue has come, that before actually paying for the physical component, the mates wages are to be provided. Is it clear or not? So this is something that has been provided. It has been provided that the states have to clear the payment for the mates before they can distribute the fund to the vendors who have given the cement, the bricks, etc. However, it has been provided that the actual thing that was required was that the mates should have been completely delinked from the material component. They should not be considered as a part of a material component, rather they should be they should be treated as a part of the wage component. That was needed, but it has not happened. Okay, so this is all, guys, about this particular article, and these critical evaluations are important because often the questions into the schemes are being asked into the mains examination in GS paper number 2. Is it clear or not? Now moving to the next question. Okay, what is the mandate of 100 days work? Is this 100 days in a year? Yes, dear, obviously it is 100 days in a year, not in the life, not in, it can be 100 days in month, it is an year. Okay, Indian politics need a dose of new experimentalism. Now this article, it is from the editorial section. By the way, guys, on Saturday, the text and the context page doesn't comes. Okay, it comes from Monday to Friday. Okay. Now, Indian politics need a dose of new experimentalism. Now, this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2. That is the uh, that is the Indian politics and representation. Indian politics and representation. Now, moving on. Okay, guys, see this particular thing. Now, the article is talking about that when we talk about India, India being a democracy stands for the representation of the diverse sections of society. Diverse types of people should be represented. Now, see this particular thing. When we talk about the India, understand this particular thing, that first of all, today India got its women president who comes from the tribal community, and this is an achievement of the Indian democracy, that Indian democracy is giving the opportunity to all the section of society into the political participation. And even first of all, the women, it is a symbolism, okay, because the head of the nation today is the women, and secondly, she is coming from the tribal community. It is a pride for the India. We are giving them representation, very good thing. But at the same time, it is being provided that when we talk about the lawmakers who belong to the SC/ST community, they are not being given much representation into the social justice committee. It's being provided that just 59.5% of SC/ST lawmakers, they are included into the social justice committee. Is it clear? This is a point where we need to work more. Moreover, when the leaderships are mentioned, many a times the political parties are not giving the leadership position to the people from the SC/ST community. There are certain specific parties which are centered only around the scheduled caste communities. For example, we have the Bahujan Samaj Party, BSP is there. But the other parties which are not made on the caste lines, they don't give them representations. Now, it is being provided that, see, actually the anti-defection law came in 1985 by the 52nd Amendment Act. Now, you might be knowing about the anti-defection law. Okay, what anti-defection law is? It aims to reduce the defections. Defections means that if a party got elected on the in on some other political party's ticket, then that person will not be allowed to change the political party. If the person has done that particular thing, then the person will be disqualified by using the anti-defection law. So the defections, the changing of the political parties after the election that was happening in 1980s, fine, Ayaram Gayaram phenomena, to curb that particular thing, anti-defection law came. Now, many number of times, guys, actually, it has also been provided that if a person goes against the whip of a political party, then also under the anti-defection law, the person can be disqualified. Now, this is something, for example, the whip means a monitor of a political party. Whip has directed all the members of the political party who are there into the parliament that you have to do XYZ thing, or you have to vote in this particular manner, or you have to support this particular idea. If you don't accept that, if you go against that, then under the anti-defection law, a member can be disqualified. Now it has been provided that we need to review this anti-defection law, because many times the SC/ST lawmakers, they might think that the political party to which they belong, they are not preserving the interest of their community, and if they will raise their voice, they might get disqualified. So basically, when they speak up in the parliament, particularly for the issues where the party stance differs from the individual's choices, they might be punished by disqualifying them. So we need to amend this particular provision. Is it clear, guys? See, earlier also this particular issue had come often into the news, that basically intra-party, within the party democracy is being minimized by the anti-defection law. But there are multiple rulings already that had come that anti-defection law disqualifications will only be applicable when the vote on the party's survivability was carried. Okay, for example, the no confidence motion has been moved against the ruling party. There the whip can direct that, okay, you have to vote in this particular way only. There, if any person goes against that particular whip, so there is the issue that will come. Okay, so there the disqualification can happen. Now moving on, guys, after that, the article is talking about that on other dimensions also the representations is being given by the parliament. Okay, to other communities, the parliament, other democracies have given representation to many other communities. For example, when we talk about the female participation, the countries such as the Finland, okay, they have normalized the female participation, and in the leadership role they are bringing more and more women. For example, under the Justice Trudeau, the Canada's cabinet is having 50% female membership. Now, just to put these numbers into the perspectives, guys, presently in the present Lok Sabha, just 14% of MPs are women. In 2019 elections that were concluded, 78 MPs were chosen who were the women, and it means 14% MPs are women, which is highest after the independence, but still it is low given their population. When we talk about population of women, around 50% population is of women. Is it clear? But still their representation is less. Okay, now after that, when we talk about the Gujarat elections, parties nominated only a handful of women candidates. Okay, much representation has not been given. Moreover, across the parties, they often support the women's reservation bill. Okay, but actually the women's reservation bill has not been passed. So 108 constitutional amendment bill was raised, where it was provided that 33% reservation is to be given to the women in the parliament. But up till now, that particular bill has not been passed. Is it clear? So this is something we find that the women are not being given much of representation. Then it is also talking about that the youth are also not getting much representation into the Indian parliament. See this particular thing, that when we talk about the other countries, for example, in Austria in 2017, the position of chancellor was taken up by the person at the age of 31. Italy saw the deputy prime minister who was just 31-year-old. Then in France, a law student was elected to the France parliament at the age of just 24 years. Okay, so the young people are joining their parliaments into the other countries. But when we talk about India, guys, listen this, please note down this particular keyword, that is the gerontocracy. Gerontocracy. What is gerontocracy? Gerontocracy is a society which is governed by the old people. Now, it has been provided, guys, that in the present Lok Sabha, the average age of the MPs, it is above 50 years. So the participation of youth in India's politics is very much less. Clear? So this is something that we need to focus upon. Moreover, next thing that is coming here is that, guys, that in the other countries, even the people from the LGBT section, they are being given a lot of representations. For example, we have example from Africa, South Africa, okay, Tunisia, Mauritius. They have seen the LGBT people, they are being elected as well, they're elected as well as they are being appointed to the nominated positions, including the high court judges, premiers, okay, the leader of a political party, okay. And in other example countries also, for example, Iceland, Ireland, Belgium, a lot of LGBT people are being given representation. But when we talk about India, the LGBT people, they are not being given too much of representation. They are not the face of political party. They are not being given the leadership position into the political parties. Cabinet ministers, in the cabinet ministers, we don't have seen any person from the LGBT community. Okay, so Shabnam Mosi was the first MLA who got chosen from the LGBT community, and there is also the Madhubai Kenner, fine, who had got some political representation, but still their number is very much less. This we need to focus upon. Then ideological diversity in the Indian political parties is also getting very much less. Now see this particular thing. Basically, guys, it has been provided that in the mature democracies, there is a greater diversity of ideologies. All the different type of ideologies will be there. Social ideologies, economic ideologies, political ideologies. Okay. But when we talk about India, India being the largest democracy, most parties only prefer the center left or the central left, or now the centrist ideology. It is becoming a kind of a dominant political party. The Republican Party of India, which was established by B.R. Ambedkar in 1956, which majorly focused on the social democracy, their share has reduced a lot. Today, less than 37.24% of MPs claim to be agriculturalist. Okay, so fine, just 77.15% are listed as farmers in their occupation. The point is that only 7% MPs are doing agriculture, but at the same time 56 to 57% people are involved in agriculture. Okay, so there is very much representation from the farmer community. Is it clear? So the article is talking about that we in Indian parliament, in Indian democracy, a lot of diversity in terms of thoughts, diversity in terms of age, diversity in terms of the sexual and social profiles is needed. Only by that the parliament will be truly representative. So this is something that has been provided in this particular article. Guys, I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. Okay. Okay, something sociological. We can use it on ethics, gerontocracy, leadership by old people. Yes, dear, you can discuss that thing also. Moreover, if you're attending the ethics PYQ class, in the last ethics PYQ class that I have taken, okay, there I have discussed one question also that was asked into the UPSC ethics paper 4. The question was this, that less and less youth are joining the Indian politics. What are the reasons? So there we have discussed about this particular thing, that the old people are there in the politics, and many number of times because young people are not joining, the leadership, the vigor, the passion, the new ideas, out of box ideas, social reform, it doesn't comes in the politics. Okay, so yes, you can mention it in such kind of questions. Now moving to the next article, connecting India's east with the Indo-Pacific. Connecting India's east with the Indo-Pacific. Now this particular article, guys, is talking about that how Northeast India can play a very important role in the India's Indo-Pacific policy. In the India's Indo-Pacific policy. Now this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, foreign policy. GS paper number 2, foreign policy. Okay, now basically, guys, the article is talking about that. See, since since two since now obviously nearly 2 decades have happened, even more than that, that India is running its look east policy, which got changed into the act east policy also after the change of the government. Now look east means that India will specifically be focusing on to the eastern part of the Asian country, eastern Asian countries, Southeast Asia. We will be specifically be focusing upon, and their relations will be cultivated by leveraging the India's northeast. So here you can see that we have the India's northeastern states. So their relation with the Southeast Asia, they will be enhanced. They will be given the connectivity with the countries of the Southeast Asia. Northeast can act as a bridge with the East Asia, Southeast Asia, and for that thing, look east, act east policies are being taken up. Now, what has happened in just last couple of years? Basically, the look east and act east, they have just been made as the phases of the Indo-Pacific policy. So in the broader Indo-Pacific, look east and act east has been merged. Now the article is talking about that, see, we cannot leverage the Indo-Pacific or look east perfectly until and unless we don't focus onto the Northeast India. When we talk about the Northeast India needs the adequate security. You know this particular thing, that there are a lot of insurgencies into the Northeast, particularly in the regions of Nagaland. There are the insurgency. Recently, we have seen that there are the border disputes also between the Mizoram and Assam, Meghalaya and Assam that happened. Okay, so basically there are the security issues. Economic development is needed in this particular region. Still much of manufacturing is not there. Still a lot of infrastructure requirement of the Northeast are not getting met up. They need better connectivity with the rest of India, with the mainland India, as well as with the other countries of the region. So they are to be given the better connectivity. This is something that has been provided. So therefore it is being provided that if we want to focus on free, open, inclusive, peaceful, prosperous Indo-Pacific, we need to focus that these particular things into the Northeast are being taken up, because without including the Northeast, we cannot drive our Indo-Pacific policy, because within the Indo-Pacific, the look act and look east are already integrated. Now when we talk about the Northeast India, guys, in the Northeast India we have 7 sister states and 1 brother state, that is the Sikkim. Now basically recently what has happened, recently there was a policy conversation dialogue that was held in the Imphal, in the Manipur. In this particular dialogue, the 4 states which are bordering the Myanmar, that has participated. 4 states bordering the Myanmar that has participated. Who have participated here? The Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Mizoram and Manipur. Okay, again I am repeating, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Mizoram and Manipur, they have participated. And here they had held a wide ranging discussion that how the Northeast India is specifically to be focused, to be leveraged while fostering the relations with the Southeast Asian partners. Okay. Moreover, recently guys, what had happened? There are also in Kolkata the interactions that have happened with the intellectuals, intelligentsia, the artist. Okay, and this particular discussion was held by the Asian Confluence, which is a think tank. Okay, and here also it has been provided that if Indo-Pacific strategy of India is to be made successful, the people from the Northeast are to be included. Now in this particular direction, guys, it has been provided that the Northeast is onto the right path to concentrate on economic development. For example, we are focusing on improving the roads, railway linkages. We are focusing on developing the towns. Okay, basically the education is being focused, the skill development is being focused, all these particular things is happening. But still a lot more needs to be done. For example, Manipur can be promoted as the hub for medical tourism for other Indian states, as well as in the Myanmar, the northeastern states, they can cooperate with the Manipur on this particular dimension. Okay, the research and development facilities are needed to be leveraged so that they are needed to be enhanced in such a dimension that they can leverage the rich biodiversity of the Northeast. Is it clear or not? Then we need to focus on development by bringing more and more investment by the Indian corporates, because I told you that the infrastructure development, economic opportunities into the Northeast India are not there. So we need to focus on this particular thing. Now, particularly the article is talking about that, as if we want to focus more onto the Northeast, we need to move beyond the geopolitics and geoeconomics. Now, what is geopolitics and geoeconomics? Guys, geopolitics is geography based politics, where the political discussion, political dialogues, political cooperations will happen onto the basis of geography. For example, Quad. Quad is a geopolitical tool, geopolitical platform. Okay, then there is geoeconomics. Geoeconomics is that on the basis of placement, the countries will be collaborating on economic aspect. Is it clear or not? So geoeconomics is when the people from one particular region, the countries from one particular region come together, they sign a kind of a free trade agreement, they sign a kind of a SEPA, SECA, etc. So basically geopolitics is the political associations, political unions based on a geography, and geoeconomics is the economic unions based on some common geography. Okay, so we need to move beyond geopolitics and geoeconomics. And when we talk about the Northeast India as well as the other parts of the Southeast Asia, we need to focus on geocultural dimension. We need to focus on geocultural dimension. Understand this particular thing, that we need to enhance the reach of the Northeast and the Southeast Asia by the cultural ties. You see this particular thing, for example, guys, when we talk about the culture of the northeastern states and the states such as the Myanmar, okay, they are very much they are very much related. So basically geocultural dimension, okay, the expanding the reach of the cultural diplomacy, people to people cooperation, fine, greater educational exchanges between the Northeast and the other Southeast Asian countries need to be there. Cultural ties are needed to be expanded between them. Fine, it has been provided by the former foreign secretary that shared culture, shared history and mutual social threads can tie the region with India, and therefore this is something that we need to focus upon. Now, the article is talking about that we need to have expanded people related to corporations. Moreover, the Bay of Bengal, the BIMSTEC, okay, that is the Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technological and Economic Cooperation. BIMSTEC can be leveraged, and on the basis of the BIMSTEC, the countries that are now the Bay of Bengal is a water body which connects a lot of countries of the Southeast Asia with the Northeast. So onto the Bay of Bengal region we need to focus, and we need to actually focus that how the Look East and Act East are also focusing on thinking and relate East. Fine, thinking and relating East. Mainland India need to relate with the Northeast, and the Northeast needs to relate with the Southeast Asia, and on that particular thing the supports are to be given, the policies are to be framed, the cultural ties, people to people ties, okay, shared histories related ties are needed to be leveraged upon. That is all about this particular article. And now moving to the next article. VP questions judiciary's power to undo amendment. Okay, now actually guys, this particular article is not that much important with respect to the examination, but in this particular article there is some expressions that we find that how the Indian constitution is a feminist document. This particular expression we are going to take up. Now, first of all, before going in this particular article, I will tell you the context as why this particular article has come. So right now there is a kind of a war of words that is going on between the law ministry as well as the Supreme Court. Basically, the Supreme Court says this thing, that in the past the names referred by the collegium, it has not been cleared. Supreme Court says that there are the vacancies into the High Court, okay, and the names have been suggested, but the government is not clearing that. And then the government had said this particular thing, that actually the judicial appointments which are being done by the Supreme Court, they are not very much fair. In 2015, okay, actually there was, sorry, by the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act, there was the National Judicial Appointment Commission, NJAC, that got passed. However, Supreme Court just held that this National Judicial Appointment Commission is unconstitutional. Okay, by the way, I have discussed this entire issue with you in the yesterday's newspaper analysis already. Okay, and before that also I have discussed that particular thing. So basically, what is happening? Basically, guys, what is happening? See this thing. I'll write here briefly just to explain you. Supreme Court is not happy with the government. Supreme Court is not happy with the government. Why the Supreme Court is not happy with the government? Because government is not clearing the name for appointments, the name of for appointments which have been suggested by the Supreme Court Collegium, and at the same time government says that we are not happy with the Supreme Court. And why government is not happy with the Supreme Court? Because government says that this collegium system for the appointment of the judges of Supreme Court, appointment of the judges of High Court, and for the transfer of the judges of High Court, this collegium system is not transparent. They say that into the collegium system there is a lot of nepotism, there is a lot of favoritism that is there, and we want that this collegium system is to be reformed. And for that particular thing, the National Judicial Appointment Commission was passed by the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act, which has a representation of the government as well as which had the representation of the judiciary. But the judiciary had held that it is unconstitutional and just removed the NJAC. So government says that the Supreme Court is not bringing reforms, and Supreme Court is saying that the government is not clearing the collegiums. Now this particular confrontation is going every day between the judges and between the government wherever they are representing. So basically guys, recently what has happened, the vice president, Vice President had said that world doesn't know the instance where a constitution provision reflecting the will can be undone by the judiciary. So these are the indirect references that government is giving to the judiciary. Now you don't need to go in this exchange of words, but in this entire article there are two important messages that had come. Just on the article 145, the vice president has expressed the views, and article 145 and the Indian constitution being a feminist document, these two things have come out of that. We are going to see it. Is it clear or not? Now, first of all, guys, recently while an address, keynote address, was being delivered by the CJI, Chief Justice of India. Now this discussion was on the discussion was on the role in universal adult franchise in translating India's political transformation into social transformation. Here, the Justice D.Y. Chandrachud had said this thing, that introduction of universal adult franchise in India. Universal adult franchise means that every person who is adult can vote irrespective of gender, irrespective of caste, irrespective of any social profile, religion, etc. So, universal adult franchise got introduced, and it was actually a revolutionary thing. It was a revolutionary act. Why? Because from the start, we extended the right to vote to the women, right to vote to people of any color, working class, everybody. But the mature Western democracies did not did that particular thing from the very start. If I tell you, till 1919 and 1929, even in the US and the UK, the right to vote was not given to the women. Women have to lead a movement, and the name of that movement was a suffragette movement. Okay, they had to start a movement. Only after that they were given the right to vote. But India gave it from the start, and the Constitution of India provided that particular thing. So therefore, we can say that Indian Constitution is a feminist document. It is a feminist document. As now, what is feminism? Feminism focuses on building a society which is equal for both male as well as females. Okay, so Indian Constitution is a feminist document because it is giving equal opportunities to both. It is focusing on creating an egalitarian society, and actually the Indian Constitution is an egalitarian means which focuses on equality. It is an egalitarian, socially transformative document. Okay, it has been provided. Now it is being provided that it is also provided by the Justice D.Y. Chandrachud that the exercise of the right to vote is an informed choice which is made by them. Fine. However, the actual realization of one's vote is to continuously participate into the democracy in everyday's life. Okay, and to hold the state accountable. So it's a citizen's responsibility that they should hold the accountability of the state. Okay, so this is some reference that has been given. Now, guys, these particular references you can use in your answers. Okay, these references you can use in your answers. Moving on. Then the views onto the article 145 has been expressed by the vice president. Now, guys, understand this particular thing. First of all, what is article 145? Article 145 gives the power to the Supreme Court, that the Supreme Court can regulate the matters of justice. Supreme Court can make its own rules. Supreme Court can have the power to define its own procedure. This is article 145. Now, the vice president had said that first of all, the National Judicial Appointment Commission, which tried to replace the collegium system of appointing the judges, it was passed unanimously into the Lok Sabha. However, it got struck down by the Supreme Court in 2015. Now, how and why this particular thing is happening? Basically, guys, it is provided that Indian Constitution provides in Article 145(3) that the Supreme Court, the interpretation of the Constitution when a substantial question of law is involved, that can be done by the court. Moreover, the court can also define its own procedures. That is provided in Article 145. Now, actually what happened when the National Judicial Appointment Commission came, Supreme Court said this particular thing, that this NJAC is reducing the power of the judiciary, and as it is reducing the power of judiciary, that thing cannot be allowed because this is the part of the basic structure of the Indian Constitution, and basic structure cannot be amended. This thing was already provided into the Keshwaranda Bharati case. Clear? So Supreme Court said that because it is violating the basic structure by reducing the power, and we have the power to interpret the Constitution. Moreover, Supreme Court said that we have the power to regulate our own matters also. We declare that NJS is unconstitutional. Now, the vice president is saying this particular thing, that though the Supreme Court has been given the power to interpret the provisions, but it doesn't say that they can run down, they can simply struck down a constitutional amendment. Okay, so this is something that they are saying. However, guys, whether they can do that or they can't do that thing, that is to be decided by the Supreme Court again at the end of the day. So this is all this entire issue that had come. However, just you need to see that how the document is a Indian Constitution is a feminist document. Such kind of a references can be used in your exams where you can give the such references. Now moving to the next article. West Bengal power plants failed to curb the sulfur emissions. Okay. Now, what this particular article is all about, guys? This particular article is talking about it is talking about a report. Fine, recently a report by the Center for Research on Energy and Clean Air was released. And in this particular report, they are providing this particular thing that not even a single plant, not even a single thermal power plant into the West Bengal, they had installed the flue gas desulfurization technology. Now, what do we understand by the flue gas desulfurization technology? Basically, guys, when we talk about the coal-fired power plants, while they are carrying the emissions, in these emissions, there are the sulfur compounds. There are the sulfur compounds that are released, and these sulfur compounds are they lead to the respiratory disease. They lead to the nervous breakdown. They are not good for the health. Now, it has been provided, guys, that if I tell you India is occupying the top spot among the SO2 sulfur dioxide emitters. Okay, in 2019, India emitted 21% of the global anthropogenic means man-made, 21% of human-made sulfur dioxide, and India is the top. After that, the Russia was the second, but the gap between India and Russia was double. India is emitting double sulfur dioxide than the Russia. So sulfur dioxide emissions into the coal-fired power plant, it is a very big problem in India. Okay, now guys, this is this is the reference that we have taken from other article. Fine, you can use it in. Now, basically, guys, so therefore, to reduce the sulfur dioxide emissions, the plants have to deploy the flue gas desulfurization technology. Now, the flue, just a minute, flue gas desulfurization technology. It is a set of technologies which is used to reduce the emissions of the sulfur dioxide. Okay, so they tap the sulfur dioxide, but in the West Bengal, not even a single plant in the West Bengal, not even a single plant had implemented that particular thing. So it has been provided, okay, that they have not awarded the contracts for the FDG flue gas flue gas plants. Clear. Now, when we talk about, guys, the norms in this particular direction, the country's first emission norms, which aims to reduce the sulfur dioxide emission, nitrogen oxide emission, mercury, they were released in 2015, and since then the deadlines have been extended by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. 3 times the deadlines have been extended, but up till now they have not been deployed. So guys, now this in this particular article, a lot of data with respect to the West Bengal, what is the installed energy capacity, how much is coming from coal, how many megawatts of capacity is there. That thing is given, not important for the examination. Okay, because you cannot just remember every state's breakup of energy, that okay, from where they are deriving that. Okay, so no need to go too much into that. Now moving to the next article. Okay, so now we have the mains practice question for today. The mains practice question, it reads that while other countries offer pathways in politics to individuals from varied backgrounds, Indian politics continues to be constrained by nepotism. Comment. Also discuss the need for a push for new experimentalism in politics with greater representation and view from all the sections of society. So how more representation is needed into the Indian parliament, how more representation is needed into Indian politics, we need to emphasize on that, and you can take the reference from the editorial article that we have discussed. So that is all, guys, about the today's newspaper analysis, and with this we come to an end to the today's newspaper discussion. Guys, I hope that you have understood the article, and I hope that you are that this particular initiative is helping you, it is building the knowledge component. So that is all for today. Now guys, we'll be meeting on Monday. Till then, guys, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.